What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. As you can see behind me, I finally got all my tools back, which is awesome. I feel like a real car enthusiast again. This is fantastic. Spent a couple weeks back at the old place getting everything together and bringing it back over here. No more sitting on an ammo can using my one hand as a vise and trying not to slice through my finger with the tool in the other hand. So, go team. Also, we got a little bit of a family reunion happening. 1 2JZ, 2 2JZs, 3 2JZs, 4 2JZs!
By your powers combined, I am Captain.
Anyway, today's video, we're going to be doing the direct port nitrous install on our Sleeper Designs intake manifold. Finally. I tried to do this about 3.5 weeks ago and ran into a little bit of a technical problem. Yeah. So, totally my fault, 100% my fault. I should have either gone and researched what size the taps and stuff were on the intake manifold, or wait until it got here, or ask the question, or literally any litany of things to have alleviated that problem in about 3 weeks worth of downtime on this build series. Basically, what happened was these, the NOS ones that I ordered like forever and a day ago, are 1/16 NPT right here, and the ports on the intake manifold are tapped for 1/8 NPT, which is why you have a little bit of ting, 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 ting happening back there. Yeah, anyway. So, we get to enter this guy right here, which is awesome. This is the Nitrous Express direct port for a 6-cylinder, and these are the Shark nozzles. The Shark nozzles are 1/8 NPT tapped, whereas the Piranha nozzles are going to be like this, and they're going to be 1/16. I gotta say, having to go and wait a few weeks to go and get these in and actually have time to install it and everything like that kind of sucks, but now we get black nozzles and black solenoids and everything else, and it kind of goes along with the rest of the theme of the car. Alright, so now that we got this all opened up, the first thing I always recommend doing is checking to make sure you got all your stuff, okay? So, as you can see, we got 12 B-nuts right here. We got 12 sleeves, we got our 6 nozzles, we got our 12 fittings for the distribution blocks with the compression fitting inside. We got our 2 solenoids here, and I have 6 pieces of line, 6, which I don't know about you guys, I'm not super great at math, but I don't think that's gonna fit. I doubt it very highly. So, I'm gonna contact Nitrous Express and see what we can do about getting some more line out here, because, yeah.
1 week later.
Oh man, today's the day, boys. I think we finally got what we're looking for. Yes. So we got our other 6 pieces of tubing, but if you look here, and then here, there's no flares on these. So luckily, I do have 3AN flare dies, so we can go ahead and get that knocked out real quick. I'll go ahead and take care of flaring these here in a little bit. One thing I'd like to share with you guys real quick before we go ahead and jump into this, a couple things actually. This right here is gonna be your outlet on your nozzle. The only reason I'm saying this is because I've actually seen people screw it up, whether it be on a fogger or a direct port or anything like that, and they'll actually go and put the outlet pointing up toward the plenum. That's wrong. The outlet needs to be pointed toward the motor, toward the valves. So this guy, when it goes in, it's gonna shoot the nitrous out that hole. Super plain and simple, but it needs to be said. Second thing, Nitrous Express, if you read the direction, tells you to go and use thread locker. Basically all the fittings, just not the AN fittings, right? So basically what that means is we're gonna be using thread locker or Loctite on the nozzles when we actually install them into the intake. Nitrous Express recommends using Loctite Red. You got to put a lot of heat into that if you do need to go and pull it off. Like if I were to go and sell the intake manifold or something like that without the direct port setup on it, and it's just a pain in the butt to get out. So I will be using Loctite Blue. I've had a little bit better results with that stuff. You still need to go and put a good amount of heat in it to actually go and get it to spin off, but it's not anywhere near as bad as the red stuff. So we're going to be using Loctite Blue today. Do not, under any circumstances, use Teflon anything. No Teflon tape, no Teflon paste or anything. Some guys like to use Teflon paste. I'm not a huge fan personally. I suppose you could probably get away with it, but we're gonna be using thread locker though, like Nitrous Express recommends. One other thing we're gonna be covering in today's video, when I was living in Indy, I met a guy named John Molina, and he actually does the nitrous stuff it's just like his business, right? So I mean, he'll do direct port setups, he'll do foggers, he'll do whatever. And he actually taught me a really cool trick on how to go and black out these guys. I think it'll look really good. I don't know, hopefully you guys did too. All right guys, so I went ahead and flared the rest of these. Overall, they came out pretty well actually, if this thing will focus. So I also like to go and put the sleeves and B-nuts on here before I go and bend them, only because there have been a couple times where you go and just bend the line and you forget to put the sleeve on, and it's, the B-nut will go on, but the sleeve obviously won't. So yeah, anyway, these are all good. Next thing we're gonna do is go and pull the plugs and stuff out of here on the runners and get the nozzles installed. All right guys, so we got all of our nozzles installed here. I did go ahead and put the jets on the nitrous side first. These are gonna be 0.26 since we're gonna be running a 150 shot on this car. And then these, since we're gonna be running an E85, are supposed to be a 0.17, which unfortunately I need to order. What I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do is run the solenoids remotely, just because otherwise I stick like way out here, you pass the plenum and it's like super obvious. And I wanna keep this as stealthy as humanly possible. So what I'm thinking is running probably this one right like this, and then we'll just have a fitting that goes up and across that, because we got our idle air control valve in the way. But if we were to run one like this, and then the other one pretty much right behind it and kind of on top, right like that. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the first couple of these lines and get everything started, and that way it's holding the distribution block and stuff in place. And then probably just put you on time lapse, just because you don't need to see me go through and do 12 of these. That'd be absolutely redundant. I'm not gonna go and tighten down the compression fitting all the way, because of that one trick I want to show you guys here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started with the first couple of these, and I'll show you all how to do it. So I went ahead and moved the welder out of the way. Hopefully you guys can see this all right. So part of the reason you see these two plugs right here, and then the two vacuum things on the other side, is just because I'm gonna actually go and run this kind of like right up and over, all right? So we're gonna go and take our line, thread it right on there. Tighten it down. You don't want to like super tight, but just kind of like hand snug, if you will. All right, we're gonna want this relatively flat. So I'm actually gonna go and mark this line, the vertical one, because this can be the one we're bending. And this one that's sticking out here, I'm just using as kind of a guide. So we're gonna mark it right at the top of that, because that'll be the middle of our bend. That right there, if this thing will focus, is gonna be our bend mark. All right, so that's gonna be pretty much right in the middle of the bend. For the tube bender, you can kind of go with some more affordable options for these. This one right here, I picked up off Amazon for like 25 bucks or something. It's part number 4403. If you guys can see that. This thing does a really good job. What you're gonna be looking for on a nitrous bender, if you don't do this a lot, like I don't do this a lot, just something that's gonna be tighter radius. Okay, so you're gonna want something nice and tight. This right here is the bender I use for pretty much everything else, and this one obviously has a much bigger bend radius than what this little guy does. So that's part of the reason we're using the little guy. All right, so we went ahead and got this guy in the bender, right like this. One nice thing about this guy is it's got a roller on this side, so it makes it a lot easier. All you gotta do is bring this down as close as we can as a 90. So this thing's looking a little bit underbent, which is good. It's always better to go and underbend it than to overbend it, because if it's overbent, then it's kind of a pain in the butt to go and straighten it out even a little bit. So always underbend and then go back and adjust if you need to. All right, so now that we got this on here, it's a little bit higher than what I wanted it to be, but I mean, it's gonna have to do. I can't get that any tighter, unfortunately. I'm gonna come back and bend this down a little bit more. We're gonna wanna go and cut like right in the middle of those two. If you look here, we're just trying to get that as centered as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and mark that, we're gonna cut it. Now, I know I said you could go cheap on a bender, however, do not under any circumstances go cheap on a cutter. This right here is a rigid 150. You can pick it up over like Home Depot. I don't know if Lowe's sells them or not, but I got this one at Home Depot. It's like 30 bucks. It does go down to 1/8 inch. This is 3/16, so that's good. The reason you do not want to go and cheap out on a cutter specifically is because if you get the cheap one, whether it be Harbor Freight, AutoZone, out of like little $5 Amazon special, whatever, is the cutting wheel, this guy right here, will go and sit there and walk and spiral down your tubing, and it just screws up the whole thing. So do not cheap out on a cutter. It's totally worth spending 20, 30 bucks, whatever else, on a good quality one. It's gonna save you worlds of headache in the long run, and it's gonna save you heaps and heaps of tubing too. So you're not gonna have to go and chop off little bits every time that your cutter goes and decides to be stupid and walk down this. You guys probably can't see this too well, sorry in advance. If you see like these gray lines and stuff on here, I sacrificed a piece of tubing earlier just to show you guys what happens when you use the cheap ones. All right, it doesn't actually cut anything, it just totally messes up this whole chunkier line. That's my tirade on getting a good cutter. Just make sure you get one, it's totally worth it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take our cutter, since we got it bent, and just slice it off. The cool part about this one in particular is the fact that you can actually keep tension on it by holding this part in the palm of your hand and then pushing with your thumb that way. All right, so we just cut the other piece of line we needed before we go hang in the distribution block. The one on the right has already been reamed out, okay, and cleaned up and deburred. The one on the left obviously has not. So it is very important that you go through and deburr your lines, because otherwise, obviously the one on the left has a lot more restriction than the one on the right. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right guys, so this is not my best work, but still pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. This one, I had to do a bunch of weird 45s, which is why it came out awkward. This right here, I needed to allow a little bit more clearance, which is why this one doesn't go up here, and then the other one over here. Specifically, for this power steering line and then this bracket right here, that's why it's kind of kinked in funny, and those two are flip-flopped. Anyway, we got one thing left to do, and that is to go and black out the lines. Now, we're not gonna go and hydro dip these. I'm not gonna go and anodize them or anything like that, just because it is gonna be subject to a bunch of different heat cycles. I mean, being close to the block, it's gonna get kind of warm, and then you got the cold gas and stuff going through it. So I wanted something durable. It's also gonna go and be super easy, not take a lot of time to install, which is why we have heat shrink. Basically, what we're gonna do is take pretty much all of this apart. I'm gonna go and cut heat shrink to length for each of these lines, shrink it down, and then we'll have a nice blacked out nitrous setup, minus obviously these, but that's all right. All right, so obviously we're gonna be working with this line here. I already went ahead and took it off. Basically what you're gonna do is just pull the B nut off. Obviously you can't go and take the sleeve off. And then measure your heat shrink. I just ran it all the way down to the flare right down there. You are gonna need to go and pull off about a ½ inch or so. But once you do that, yes, you have to go and waste that tiny little bit initially. However, with all of your future lines, you can just go and use this as your measuring tool, and then that way you get the right amount every time. So give me just a second to go ahead and throw this on, use my handy dandy heat gun, and I'll show you guys what the finished product is like. Ka-chow. Now I have a blacked out nitrous line. Got a little bit of silver here, but it goes and sits nice and flush right here. So now we can go ahead and tighten this down. If you give me probably 20 minutes, I'll be able to show you guys what the finished product is like. All right, guys, and there we have it. That is officially the finished product. I do still need to go through and order jets for the fuel side, the what is it, 0.17 or whatever it is. I'll be doing that tonight, and then once that gets in, all I gotta do is undo these 6 lines under here, pop it off, throw the new jets on, pop this back on, easy peasy. That is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you have any questions or anything like that in the comment section below. I really kind of like you guys' input on this. So nitrous, good idea, bad idea. I'm kind of excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I don't know if I'm going to try and tune with it on the dyno here in a couple weeks or how that's going to work out. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Other than that, I will see y'all very soon in the next one. Catch you next time. Why do I keep talking? Seriously, why do I keep talking?